Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not Too Comic Book. This being a show we talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Happy, a great and twisted episode, like always. So in this episode, I love how it opens up with a twisted game of Operation, because, Haley's like, please don't mess up on it. And he's, it's like real life organs, but the game of Operation. And it was just twisted. And then it's kind of adorable because basically Nick is spending the entire day with Haley, but he doesn't know really what to do because he's never spent an entire day with her. And so it's like, oh, you got food and fish? He's like, yeah, get whatever you want. He's like, wait. And then she opens it up to a whole bunch of organs because he's thinking about selling them, making a whole bunch of money off of it. It's kind of interesting. He's storing them, I guess, for a rainy day, or at least, at the very least, until he can find someone to buy them off of him. So there's that. Then they try to hang out a little bit. She's like, have you ever been to AA? And he's like, I've never been into avocados. And you have Happy going with the drums. And then it's like, he's like, yeah, obviously I drunk in the past, but I haven't touched this stuff in a while. And he's spraying, the spray from the premiere in his mouth, being like, trying to get as much alcohol as he can from the littlest sources. I love that. And then the whole situation of, did he like being a cop? Which, obviously being a cop, especially in that city where every cop is pretty much corrupt, not the best place. But he's like, I didn't enjoy the paperwork. And then it turns into a whole situation of, obviously, like, because the sad thing is, because Happy thinks that he knows Haley, but the fact of the matter is, he doesn't even know Haley. Because the fact of the matter is, Haley has changed a lot since the last time, they were together at the end of season 1, because it's like she's grown up. Plus, not just that, it's also the fact, and I guess you can make the argument, because she didn't have Happy, her imaginary friend there, to help her kind of digest everything she went through last season. She's kind of had to cope with it on her own, and she's a little girl, and that's enough. That's terrible stuff for even an adult to have to go through, and she's trying to handle it and process it in her own way, which is severely going to leave her being messed up. Which, to be fair, in this situation, both of her parents are messed up in their own way. Nick has been messed up for a while, but Amanda, after last season, super messed up herself. So it's not like any of them are really in good condition, but none of them are really talking about it, because it seems like there's going to be that situation of they kind of going to bury and fester a lot of stuff until it comes out in bad ways. Then you had the dude named David. Basically, it's like all those people that work for you, who work for me, went to you, you're the reason you're the dude that took care of them. And it's like, yep. Really quickly, I almost skipped over the entire racetrack situation. I love that. And she quickly embraced it. I even love Nick being like, wait, you lied to your mom for me? He was like, you almost felt like, oh my God. These are the moments that a father and his daughter dream about. Such bonding experience. Like it was like almost a heartwarming moment for him. But I love it that it's like, oh man, instead of betting real money, how about we bet imaginary money? It's like, where will we get that? And Happy breaks the swear jar. I love that. I love that actually count. And even like the money he pulled off a tree, it's like, could you actually bet that? The thing is, this world is weird enough for that to be a thing. But it's one of those things where it's like the craziness of the world kind of gets outshined by Nick's craziness. The fact is, he literally has an imaginary friend at his age, and the rules of this world are just a little wacky, so you don't know like how things really work in certain regards, but still. And Nick wanting to do, because obviously Haley's misinterpreting the situation, the conversation that's going down, because she's thinking as simple as like, oh man, there's someone that's sick, you can help go get the kidney that he needs, go help out dad. It's the right thing to do. So trying to do the right thing, trying to get things good between him and Haley, because he literally yelled at Haley for not wanting to play anymore, because it's like they lost, she bet all her money, and it's just like, it's no longer fun. It was like, at first it was kind of, yeah, cute and adorable, her kind of getting down in the low with her dad, of like the whole like, oh, betting and loving the ponies and stuff like that, because they were winning at first, and then like everything else, it just kind of all turned to shit a little bit. And I love when it was all said and done, Nick is like, oh great, y'all looking at me like that, ain't like none of you guys are great parents either. So I love that. But when the time came, went over to Sal's house. That's actually kind of twisted, that David sent Nick there to basically kill Sal and take his kidney. But it's like, there's a whole bunch of kids here. He's like, go, yeah, but be careful about it, because I don't want dead kids on my conscience. It's like, Jesus, dude. I even love that kid. Like, I guess it's his bar mitzvah, not bar mitzvah. It's his. I guess he's like the main person there, but he's like, my dad did this, and that, and then like to show him up, Haley was like, well, my dad killed Santa Claus, and the kid pauses and he's like, well, we're Jewish, so I guess like you killing Santa Claus ain't really that big of a fate. Who cares? I love that. There's just such a casual thing like that. But when the time came, Nick didn't want to do it. But because it's like no, I'm trying to go on. I'm trying to do decent work, trying to be at least a decent person for my daughter's sake. So, but then David threatened her, and so hey, what does he do? Nick does what he does, kicks some ass. I even love the guy being like, have mercy on me. It's Passover and stuff like that. Didn't care. Nick kicked everybody's ass. I love he was beating it, like he was trying to pull the trigger. It wouldn't. The gun got apparently jammed. He started beating the crap out of the other dude, and then pointed the gun at the guy and shot. I was like, dude. I mean, if there's one thing Nick does well, it's sad to say he does a very good job of being a hitman. He handles that shit pretty damn well. But when it comes down to it, like, obviously I love him coming back into the car because Happy's like, dude, we heard all of that. And then Nick is like, oh man, those fireworks, they were crazy. And then she's like, you killed them, didn't you? He's like, what? She's like, he tried to, screw you over and you killed him. And he's like, you have to kind of forget that, for her, it's like, he's like, because there's certain things in this world you shouldn't know, but she's like, but I do know it. And he's like, you have to forget, because I think for Nick, that's because for him, I mean, to be fair, he should know, and that was his way of handling things. He tried to forget, like, rather than talking to Amanda about the terrible shit he saw on the job, which kind of led to that conversation he had with Amanda when she found out she was pregnant with Haley. If he had told her his horrible day, it would have explained the reason why he was acting the way he did. The whole baby microwave situation last season, that fucking terrible situation. Like, there's a lot of terrible shit, and Nick's way of dealing with it is just bury it deep. And he's kind of teaching Haley to try and do the same thing, which I think on some level she is doing. She's like, I wish things could go back to the way they were. And then Nick's like, you mean before I came back into your lives? And she doesn't respond. And Happy's being like, she didn't mean it. He's like, blow me. He's like, like that. And it just kind of just adds insult to injury. What's sad in the long run, obviously, like, Haley, like, at the end is writing that, essay, and obviously she's taking her day that she spent with her dad, and obviously she's putting a little Happy spin to it. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Haha, aren't I so clever? I'm an idiot. But that in itself kind of shows you how messed up things are. That's how Haley is kind of coping with things, trying to turn, like, at least for essay purpose, being like, it's like, a parent and child should trust each other, because the fact is, Nick won't tell her everything because he's trying to protect her, but it's like after everything that they've been through as a family, it's like you can't protect her from it. Like, she's kind of coming out a little messed up because of everything, but in his need to try and protect her and be a good father, he might end up messing her up worse than she might end up on her own. Who knows, But what's interesting, though, is that obviously we see the Lucky Rabbit's foot in a note, like having a good day at work, which we know that came from Bunny, a.k.a. Smoothie. So that makes me start thinking, okay, so what is it that he's doing? Is he going to try and get all close to Haley, get her to let her guard down because this is all his way of getting back at Nick? Is he going to try and be a better friend and adult figure in Haley's life didn't hit her dad? Or was it just for the purpose of like, oh, let her guard down, she'll trust me, and then I will get back? Because once again, it's not just about, it's mainly about sex, I'm sure, but it is probably a little bit about Haley too. She kind of screwed everything up much like Nick did, so maybe it's just kind of him smoothly giving the middle finger to the entire family. I have no idea that's what I'm kind of leaning towards, but we'll have to wait and see in the long run what he has planned. I love that, obviously, like, well, since we are on the subject of Smoothie, man, like, we knew Smoothie was super messed up and twisted. All of season 1 proved that. But literally ripping the skin off that was like, oh my god. And he's like, oh, the fact of the matter is, he's like, oh, in your breath. He's like, but that's what a friend does. They tell you stuff like that. And puts the mint in the dude's mouth. And it's like, oh my god. And he's like, the fact is, you will die, because I'm a professional, you will die the hour, the minute, the second I tell you to. And then slaps this skinless dude's skinless ass. And it's like, oh, hang in there or whatever. It's like, Jesus, like I said, I almost feel like Smoothie might be more sadistic now than ever. But it's hard to say, especially when you consider all the crazy shit he did in season 1. It's hard to say. So there's that. And then there's also the conversation. It seems like we also get a little bit of an insight into what it is that Sonny is planning with this whole, like, revamp to Easter. For him, it's like, oh, for him, it's essentially like, oh, he took advantage of, like, oh, he saw what happened. It's like, oh, all the headlines that were popping up, you know, over the holidays when Santa was kidnapping kids and all that. It's like, oh, the headlines were this and that. And it's like, you know, it's like sex sells, but death sells more. So that is what he is trying to do. Like, basically, by causing all this mayhem, it's like, I guess people are going to turn more to Easter, maybe try to, you know, embrace the holidays more, especially on the more religious side of things. But I think it's also like, oh, they're going to need sunshine more and more. They're going to come to droves to worship and need me during this time. So basically, he's concocting this situation to make himself more important, while also helping out the church, because it's also going to be a moment that's going to draw them in. So it's kind of a win-win situation, obviously, the Pope being okay with everything. I mean, I'm assuming Sunshine told him everything, but probably didn't tell him everything, but who knows? You know, that's where it seems like everything's kind of going for now. What's showing you just how messed up Sonny is, which is no surprise. And then you take the whole situation with Amanda, her, and Meredith kind of, like, I wonder, is that something they've kind of been doing, like the whole, like, getting together thing. And it's like, oh, they're sitting there drinking, because even Amanda's like, oh, I'm counting on Nick, which is, you know, kind of shows you how messed up that is, and they're laughing about it. But Meredith knows that Amanda's not okay, but Amanda's trying to pretend like everything that went down in Sunshine. She's like, I don't remember what went on. And then Meredith is like, you can't let it go because I didn't let it go either. And she's like, see, watch me try. And it's like, once again, that entire family, Nick, Amanda, and Haley, are all trying to bury that stuff. I mean, to be fair, Amanda's going through some PTSD, some serious PTSD. But obviously, like, Meredith is still investigating the whole situation. So she captured Blue's lawyer, because it turns out Blue is going to snitch on Mr. Bug, aka Sunshine. Well, I'm going to be more so the other thing, but still. Just because for Blue, it's like, he's literally going to kill me anyway. He literally sent me the bug last episode. So obviously, like, he's got his eyes on me. So it's like, I might as well try and make a deal and get to Wyoming to get away from this. But it's like, probably wouldn't be that simple. But also, you know, going back to Amanda, she ran into Simon, who was played by Daniel, was it Sunjata? Seen him in plenty of things. Graceland, Manifest most recently. Wasn't his character's name Danny? I'm fairly certain, because I'm blanking, because it's been a little while, so I'm already forgetting. Like I said, I'm terrible with names after a while, because there's just so much stuff I compartmentalize in my head, so some stuff ends up kind of like faltering. But I'm pretty sure his character's name was 3 networks are under the same umbrella, like NBC USA, which is where Graceland aired, and Syfy are all like connected. I think that's all under the same umbrella of NBC. I think I could be wrong, but nevertheless, it was just something interesting in the back of my head. But I love that Nick shows up, and Simon's like, no, it's cool, dude. Some stranger comes out of your house, the house of your ex-wife, and the fact of the matter is, yeah, especially after what you guys have been through. And then, like, Amanda's like, oh, don't worry, Nick, everything's gonna work out. She's in such a good mood. Happy's like, oh, she's in such a good mood. And I love Nick being like, she fucked that guy. And you almost have Happy, he was happy at first, kind of go almost like a, oh, which is so interesting, because it's like, it was heavily implied the way she was so happy. Even though I was like, oh, they had sex. For him to literally go, she fucked that dude, kind of caught me by surprise. It's like, I think for a second I forgot what show am I dealing with. It's like, no, we're not dealing with subtlety here. It's like, we're going to tell you like it is. I don't know. I just thought that was kind of an interesting moment. But another interesting thing is the fact is that Blue literally pants around his ankle ass on the toilet is getting jumped. It's going to be interesting to see what ends up happening, because obviously, like, the thing inside of Blue, like, obviously when it was inside of Mikey, it kind of activated, like, when Mikey had died. But to be fair, it's activated in Blue while he was still alive. So is he going to still be alive, or are they going to beat him to death, and then the thing's going to surface and kill them? Or is the next time we're going to get back to it, Blue's going to snap to it, and it's like, oh, I'm still alive, but all these other people are dead. So there's that. Meredith is going to try and get, you know, Sunshine through Blue's lawyer, because it turns out the reason why Sonny's able to do what he does is because he has blackmail on everyone, apparently, in the form of tape, because, like, tapes last forever or whatever. To be fair, it kind of makes sense, too, because obviously, like, his, you know, we saw his audition tape last season, and it was on tape. Maybe that has something to do with it. You know, it's kind of interesting. I'm curious where we dive into why he's as messed up as he is. He's kind of messed up like Santa was messed up last season, you know? So we'll see about that. But also, it turns out his whole situation is that basically he learns your deepest, darkest wish. The type of shit stuff you don't even tell your therapist is kind of what Blue's lawyer was saying. And basically, it's like he gets you what you want and then you're his. Which is so interesting because obviously, like, you have Meredith kind of going up against this uphill battle by herself because pretty much all the cops are dirty. So that's definitely interesting. You know, it's kind of interesting because, you know, a lot of season 1 she kind of spent as a dirty cop, and we see her kind of turning it around this season. So, and obviously, like, you know, Nick is trying to struggle as a dad, you know, trying to fight who he was in season 1, who he's been for the past 10 years, and try and be a better person. Oh, to be fair, we don't know he was completely the way he is now. That's a process. He might not have been like that the entire 10 years. It took a while to get to where he is right now, so there's that. But everything going on with Amanda. Like, I kind of even feel like the whole Simon situation is her kind of just, you know, trying to bury things too and trying to enjoy things and have fun. You know, because she even said, like, I'm going to get back out there. It's like, yeah, you're still going through some stuff just like Haley is, so I hope we don't end up finding out that Simon's connected to all this too. And just like, I don't know, because we're not going to find any normal people in this situation. So, especially like Amanda, Haley, like there ain't no normal in their lives, especially after everything they went through last season. So I highly doubt anyone claiming to be normal coming into their lives is normal. So I've got my eyes on Simon. I'm very suspicious of him. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see where things kind of go, like especially like, you know, Nick and Haley's relationship going forward. Obviously the continuation as, you know, Smoothie continues doing his bunny situation and everything going on with the thing inside of Blue, what that's going to be, especially because Blue has no more relatives for it to jump into. So that's going to be interesting to find out what ends up happening with that. But also, you know, Sunny Shine and his whole situation. I'm very interested to see what the next episode has in store for us. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.